All right, all right. It is Tuesday night. Listen, it's so funny. We were just talking about it in the green room just a few minutes ago. Tuesday rolls around just like clockwork, right? Every 8 p.m. Tuesday comes around. It seems like it comes quicker than 7 days, but it comes, and we're excited to be with you tonight. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to welcome everyone who is watching via Facebook, right? So you might be watching through our private Facebook group. You might be watching through our Facebook page, The Real Money Coach. You might be watching through my page. You may be watching through Michelle as she streams it on her page. And you might be watching by YouTube. But tonight we're welcoming a new audience to the Real Money Coach Show, and that is people watching through LinkedIn, right? We are streaming also live to LinkedIn tonight. So if you're watching tonight, tell us in the chat box where you're watching from, what city, what location. And if you're watching on LinkedIn, let us know that it's coming through loud and clear on LinkedIn as well. So we're excited about being able to add that new platform to our live stream, our live podcast. And listen, it is just awesome how we can use this technology and reach so many people. And so we want to thank you again for tuning in, watching the Real Money Coach Show here live, this podcast. I want to thank you, all of you who've been watching on Saturday mornings as we're having the Saturday morning show on Praise 100.9. We got someone watching from Charlotte. We're glad that you're here. Let us know who else is there, because depending on how you're watching, and I kind of remind people of this, if you're watching through the private Facebook group page, it's actually just going to say on our end, Facebook user. It's not going to actually tell us, because that's a private group. It won't tell us your name. So you have to let us know your name if you're watching through that platform. We have a great show for you tonight. I think it's going to be very interesting in Georgia on the Tony Jackson page. Interesting. I'm glad you're here from Georgia, watching it on the Tony Jackson page. Love it that you are here, and we're excited that you are joining us. We have a phenomenal show. We got a lot of news to talk about. We got a lot of interesting things, because our topic tonight is really going to be about credit and credit repair and that type of industry. But we have a celebrity credit guru, and it's going to be very kind of interesting as we unpack. I want you guys to be thinking about your questions now that you want to put in the chat as it relates to celebrities and credit. And then you may be like me. You be like, why does celebrities need credit repair? I mean, they're making all the money and all this, but guess what? They're human just like you and I. So we know that they need the same services that you and I need. And so, but if you have that question, or you want a question and ask our special guest tonight, please put it in the chat. When he comes on, we want to make this as interactive as possible for you. While he's on the air, and we get a chance to hear from him. And so without any further ado, I want to bring on my good friend, the Ace Boone Coon, my wife's bestie, my friend from back in the day, all the way back to 1986, right? Michelle Mitchell. How you doing, Michelle?
I'm good. How are you, Tony?
I'm good. Listen, as he showed that little gift from Martin, right? That was back in our day, right? I mean,
that was back in our day.
Yes. Martin, yeah, that one right there, right?
Yes,
so,
yes.
Yeah, so that's so funny. I still watch some of the reruns, to tell you the truth, man. One of my favorite episodes is when Gina got her head stuck in the head. Yeah. So Michelle, how you doing? You good?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
Listen, I got a chance to pop in on your webinar this afternoon.
Yes.
And let me tell you something. You were spitting truth, knowledge, all of that. It was great information.
Thank you.
And I was like, man, it's just, the one issue that we have so often when we do things in this arena of financial education, is that sometimes it's not sexy, right? So
Right.
people don't flock to it
Yep.
like they probably should.
Hmm.
So that, it's just getting more people to say, hey, I need to engage in this. It can do something for me. I was actually speaking with someone earlier today that I'm going to connect you with, that I think would be an awesome connection for you guys to connect together, because you're passionate about some things,
I am.
like women and business,
Mhm.
and having their business together, business plan. And I always use your line,
Yeah.
turning your
Your
passion
passion
into a
into
profit.
profit.
So
Mhm.
why is that so important to you, Michelle?
That's important to me because people start a business because of their passion, because of either they're expert in what they do or they're passionate about something. But when it comes down to it, they don't know how to run the business. They just don't know how. No one ever taught them. And a lot of things, I can't remember where you popped in on the workshop today, but a lot of things, impacts the finances. So,
Absolutely.
you know, one, the thinking of the person who created the business, the CEO. Like, if you have faulty thinking about circumstances, then you come from a place of scarcity and lack, right?
Right.
Which impacts your finances. So, if we don't get a handle on that, then we can't build anything else. So, we got to get a handle on like the mindset of people and just changing your thought process, realizing that, hey, I'm thinking negative about this. Um, and disrupting that feedback loop so that you can think differently. And I am very passionate about that. So
Yeah, and I think, as you were saying, it's so important that the mindset, right? Dr.
mhm,
Benita Harris, thank you for being here in the chat. Thank you. That mindset, whether we're a business owner or whether we're individual or whatever the case may be, it starts with our
it
mind. It
does.
starts between the ears, right?
Mhm.
And if we want to do better, then we have to start to think better. We have to
Yes.
our thoughts
Hmm.
and and I was reading today in my meditation time. I was just thinking about how important it is about self-talk
Yes.
and what we tell ourselves and what
Mhm.
we tell ourselves about everything, not just money,
Right.
relationships, um,
It's
circumstances.
just circumstances. That's one of the things we talked about today. Like, depending on the circumstance in in your outer peripheral, like you attach a feeling to that. And
Hmm.
because you have a feeling about it, it affects your actions. And because it affects your actions, it affects your outcome. It affects your results. So when you have a negative thought pattern, all you get is negative, and people wonder why I can never get out of debt or never break through. But it's because you haven't disrupted that thought pattern yet. And once you do, it's like easy breezy because it's all there. You're just blocked.
You got to break through. You got to
Yeah,
break
you
through.
got to break through it.
Look, Ruth Bell says, "Good evening." Charlotte is in the house. Ruth Bell is watching of that, and then we have Alice Martin is watching from North Carolina as well. We got Harvey Jones,
Oh,
Harvey
Harvey
Jones from
Jones.
Birmingham, Alabama. Listen, saying it's another beautiful day in the kingdom, right? Constance is watching from uh, Concord, North Carolina. So listen, everybody's tuning in tonight, and I love
Yeah.
it when you're active in the chat, letting us know where you're watching from. And as I was looking at this, and we have people from Charlotte, we got people from Alabama, and different parts of the country, and all this type of thing. It's so many of the things that we go through are it's the same no matter where you live, right?
Right. Hmm.
And because and this is what makes me think about this, because our guest tonight, he lives in Atlanta,
Hmm.
and I can just remember, just at least in Michigan, and maybe it was like this in other parts of the country too, right? People would say, man, I need a change of environment. I need to go someplace where I can make it, I'm moving to Atlanta, right? I'm moving to Atlanta. I don't know how many people I heard say that I'm moving to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, some people made it, right? Some
Mhm.
people moved to Atlanta and they've done well. But then there was people that I knew um, who moved to these other cities looking for an opportunity, looking for
Yes.
things to be different, looking for the magic potion, right? So that magic potion might be in Atlanta, right? Kimberly McGinn, thank you for being here. Look, Leva Tyler says, love this. She's from Atlanta, right? But what I found, Michelle, was this is that there are some people who left and they went to another city,
Mm-hmm.
but what they took with them was the same
The same.
mindset that they had in the place they left.
Yes.
And if you take the same mindset to the new city, you're going to produce exactly what you had in the old city because your mindset hasn't changed any.
Right.
And so if we want, that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
If we want to change our circumstances, then we have to change our mindset.
Yes.
And I would say, and I know a lot of people that watch are believers, and you know, we believe in prayer and all that type of thing. And we had a wonderful service. You know, shout out to Reverend Blakely, who gave a great sermon on Sunday. But it was it and we talked about prayer, and she ended it with prayer. But
Mhm.
even in our prayer life,
Mhm.
if we don't change our mindset, our belief, our faith,
Mhm.
believing that what we're asking for, God can and will deliver, right?
Yeah.
So again, it comes back to what is your mindset, what is your disposition as it relates to your prayer life and all those things.
Yeah.
And so the Bible's clear, right?
Mhm.
So that a man thinketh, so is he.
Yes.
And I mean, how you gonna get past that? You can't get
I
past.
know. You can't get past that. And if you sometimes a change of environment really does matter, and it can spark you into new activity, because one of the things I talked about today was activity. Like,
Mm,
what activity are you doing to
yeah,
get
I
the
was in on
results
part of
that
that.
you
Yeah,
want? Like, you have to be doing the right activity. And if you're not doing the right activity in the like in a new location, you are still going to get the same results.
right. So
Yeah.
so changing your zip code is
Mm-mm.
not going to really change anything. Now
No.
it can,
It
like you said,
can. It
if
can.
you're willing, if you're adapting,
But you've done something different though.
right, you
You
got to
have. You
right.
have done something different.
And so for me, I think moving down here to Charlotte was a game changer. I mean,
Game changer.
it was a game
Mhm.
game changer um, because of just you know being in a larger city
Mhm.
and quite frankly more African American people that are doing
Right.
things and that type of thing. And so, but you know, like you said, it's a mindset change too.
It is.
So
But
it's
you
not.
already had that aspiration in you. You just weren't seeing it in your environment. And when you got into an environment where you were seeing it on a daily basis, it
Mhm.
actually grew.
Well, I think like begets like, right?
Mhm.
So sometimes they said you'll be like the people that you're around the most, right?
Right. Right.
So they said if you hang around 10, 9 broke people, you'll be the 10th broke person, right?
Right. Exactly.
Right. So it is about getting into an environment. And if the environment helps you to kickstart and get out of the box that you're
Right.
creating for yourself,
Mhm.
then hallelujah, make the move,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But be prepared that when you make the move, it's not just it's gonna you're gonna have to do some things yourself to really make
Yes.
it happen and to do make a difference, right?
Yes. You gotta have the activity.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that as we have our guest tonight, and hopefully he'll unpack some of his background in terms of a mindset change,
Mhm.
right? And how he went through that, how he went from where he was to where he is today. And it's a remarkable journey that he's going to share with us. And so we had a great time on Saturday. So let me do this. Let me go ahead and make this plug right quick that on Saturday mornings at 7:30 a.m. 7:30 a.m. Praise 100. We're on the radio. We're giving some financial tips. We are having a little peek preview from our guest that comes in on Tuesday. You can go to praisecharlotte.com. If you're in the local Charlotte area, it's 100.9. And I put some on the atmosphere. It's like, Charlotte is the first city. We're going to add, before this thing is done, we're going to be in 10 cities with this radio show. And we're going to be bringing people in and just sharing this information. So I'm so excited about the guests that we have coming up and some people that can really, just share. And my prayer is that everyone who listens in on Saturday morning and people who come to this podcast and this live will leave inspired.
Right.
So we want you to leave both informed and inspired. So we're going to bring you stories from people that will inspire you. We're going to bring people that will give you knowledge. And we're constantly working on our own mindsets, right?
Mhm.
So it's always evolving.
Always
So,
evolving.
always evolving. So that's what we're doing here at the Real
Yeah.
Money Coach. And so every Saturday morning at 7:30 a.m., a couple other things that I'm involved with during the week on Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m., Clubhouse, Every Dot Black. It is Wealth Wednesday. And we have really spent some time in my book, Increase, Protect, and Dominate Your Money. And we're just about done there on Saturday or Wednesday mornings. So that's at 8 a.m. every Wednesday on Clubhouse, Every Dot Black. But I do want to make an announcement here tonight is that we are going to have the iPad Your Money Masterclass, right? We're going to have the masterclass, iPad Your Money Masterclass coming to a Zoom near you, right? So we're going to be doing this. We're going to be kicking it off. Probably, we haven't finalized all the details yet, but most likely it's going to be on Mondays at 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. Excuse me, not a.m. because I ain't even going to be up myself, right? It's going to be at 7 p.m. on Mondays, and it's going to be iPad Your Money Masterclass. And so we're gonna take it chapter by chapter. We're gonna really dig into it and have a master class. Now, here's the thing: we know that a master class has some cost to it, Shell, right?
That's right.
It's not free. It's
No.
not free.
Mm-mm.
We're really setting a price point at this. We're setting a price point at about $99 per person for the master class. But let me tell you something: anyone who's already received the book, they get in for free. So if you have the book, you get in for free. Now, here's the secret. If you don't have the book, order it tonight.
Right.
Order it tonight. So when we make this announcement, you can say, oh, well, I already got the book. I don't have to pay the $99 to be a part of the master class. So order the book. And not only that, if you go to iPadYourMoney.com, order the book using the discount code iPad100, it is yours free tonight. But once we start the master class, we probably will start eliminating the book for free. All right. And go back because, we initially offered the book at $10 when before it was launched. At the book launch, we offered it for a discount price of $19.95. And then we had this period of time that we were offering it for free. That will probably go away. And so as that goes away and we start the masterclass, of course, if you join the masterclass, you'll get a free copy of the book. But those are some things that's going on. And then in addition to that, on Thursday nights at 7 p.m., I'm on the Generational Wealth Alliance Zoom with Dr. George Frazier and Janice the Rainmaker Leak. And so if you want to join in on that fun with Dr. Frazier each week, just go to generationalalliance.com and there's a link there to join that. So
nice.
that's what I got going on every week. Right.
That's a lot.
And then meeting with
Then,
wonderful customers.
plus, you have your day job.
Plus, I got my day job, right? Plus, I got my day job and got to take care of people like that. But listen, Michelle, I think we need to go ahead and bring on our guest tonight, Mr. James Hunt. Let me just tell you a little bit about James Hunt. This is just a little paragraph, right? So James Hunt is known as the celebrity credit guru who helps everyday people, entertainers, athletes with their credit. And we know a lot of people need help with their credit.
Mm-hmm.
Among his clients are people like Bruno Mars, Akon, Tank, Taraji B. Henson, Tachina Arnold, Tyrese, Usher, Shaq. What? Come on. Here's the thing.
Wow.
This is what it says here. From his road of being homeless 8 years ago to becoming a multi-millionaire business owner and author and an inspiration to all. So without any further ado, I want to bring the man himself on stage, James Hunt, the celebrity credit guru. How you doing, James? Hello. Dante.
Oh, there he is.
There we go. All right, what? We got you sitting on the camera. There he is.
There you go.
Ah, there he is. How you doing, my friend?
I am wonderful. I'm happy to be with you.
Yeah, man, we happy to have you here, bro. So,
thank you,
man. I just been, of course, we have a mutual acquaintance in Ivan Thomas, and I've been, he sent me some information on you, some articles and stuff, and I'm like, this guy has done some remarkable things, man. So I'm not going to cheapen the story, man. I want you to just tell the people a little bit about you. A little bit about your background and bring us, man, through those years that you talked about, that I read about, where you were homeless and just kind of give us a little snapshot so that we really know who James Hunt is tonight.
Yeah, so I mean, I started, it was about 2 years ago, the bottom of my life fell out and I found myself on extremely hard times. And I found myself homeless and struggling to get through the day. And yet I had the audacity that while I was homeless to decide, instead of I'm going to go and find a job and go do this and go do that, I had the audacity to believe that I could actually start a business. Mm. And so I set up, I had invested $200 into a laptop, a cheap laptop from Walmart. And I had a flip phone. I didn't have an iPhone. I had a flip phone, and I started my business, and I set up in Starbucks. And there were many days that I could not even afford to get a cup of coffee from Starbucks. And I just refused to give up. And there were days when no one ever sat at my table, never got a client. And I thought about giving up, but I happened to believe that what was inside of me was valuable to the world, and at least to my world then, of the people that were surrounding me. And so I stuck to what I believed in. Many days I thought about asking Starbucks for a job. I was envious of them, the workers, and having a job and everything else. And times it really got hard. And a couple of days when I could not afford to buy a cup of coffee, and I reached into the garbage can in Starbucks and grabbed a cup of coffee out of the garbage, not to drink, but to just sit at my table so that I would have an excuse to be sitting there instead of sitting there and not having a cup of coffee. And so I kept the empty cup on the counter. Just
wow.
Wow.
Man, that's dedication, man.
Yes, it is.
That's serious right there.
Yeah, the almost the audacity to believe and the audacity to just stick to it and believe that you could do something. And I still, to this day, whenever I find myself doing something major and massive, and it looks like I can't do it or can't make it happen, I will go back and grab the same table that I was at Starbucks, and I'll talk myself through it. And so it all started right there. And so I refuse to believe, or I refuse to forget where I came from.
Man, that's so important, because I think sometimes when we start to taste a little success, we can sometimes forget about where we came from, where we started, our humble beginnings. And I think that's really just remarkable how you stay attached to that. Because, I read off a list of who's who. I mean, and I know this ain't even hitting, a smidgen of the people that you worked with.
And today I'm stressed out because I have Jamie Foxx coming into the office tomorrow. Him and Tank are in Atlanta, and both are already clients. So they're gonna sit down with the interview with me. So I'm stressed about that and trying to make sure that everything is in order and all of that kind of stuff. So and then I flew in a videographer for this interview from LA, and he's here. And Tank them arrive at their plane has landed already, so they got here at 7:00. So I'm just sort of like stressed out from that, but I'll be good.
Well, man, thanks for showing up here.
Right, that's what I was gonna say, man. That you took the time out to be with us, and
right,
you put that on your plate. That says
so it's still a part of the important things. Everything is important. So everything that you show up for. I have learned that some of the greatest things that I have received came from really small beginnings and things that didn't seem important at the time, and yet it was important because it was a part of God's bigger plan for me. And I not diligent to what I had committed to, then I would not have received the bigger or greater things. So I'm always
so important, and you were mentioning that a little bit Saturday when we talked about God's plan and how He doesn't waste anything. I can't remember exactly how we termed it up, but I sense that your faith is very important to you. And tell us a little bit about that. And how did you get through? I mean, you talked about being at Starbucks, man, and reaching in, getting an empty cup just so you can set it on the table, so it looked like that you had a cup. I mean, that and you keep using this word audacity, man. I love that you had the audacity to say, you know what, I'm going to be successful regardless of the circumstances around me.
Audacity comes in because other people were telling you, "Oh, you never do this. You'll never be successful. You look at where you come from. Look at your background. Look at where this. You'll never do this." And so I refuse to listen to the naysayers. I refuse to listen even to family members. And I had the audacity to just listen and tune myself to what God was saying about me as opposed to what others were saying about me. And His plan was far greater than my plan or the plans that other people had for me. I just decided I would listen to Him, for His plan was greater than mine.
Well, let me do this. I want to tell people that are watching right now, and there's a few people here. If you're ready tonight to do that, if you're ready tonight to listen to what God says about you and not what other people say about you, just put an amen in the chat. If you're willing to jump on that, right? Because I think if nothing else, that is so important, because we know that there's times when we can get down on ourselves, and then the naysayers, right? The naysayers, and sometimes things don't go as we plan, and we can easily find ourselves discouraged, right? So I'm getting some amens right here. So getting some amens. And so I'm saying that I'm listening to what God is saying about me and about you tonight that are watching. Don't worry about what so-and-so saying. And sometimes, James, sometimes we have to cut
Yeah.
communication off with some folks,
Mhm.
right? Because all they do is bring us down in this type of thing, and makes it hard for us to hear God because they're in our ear.
Mhm.
And so I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So,
And I think some of the best teaching I have got is when God was silent, and it's easy
mm,
to say, "Well, I learned this because God told me to do this, and God told me to do this." Some of the best teaching that I have gotten, and some of the best lessons that I have learned, was in His silence. When
Mm.
begging for Him to say something, and He said nothing.
Mm.
mm,
Going through it is always complicated. Going through it is stressful and everything else. But on the other side of it, you realize what he had in plan. And so many times I was ready to give up. And I was saying, I'm through with this. And I would talk myself. I was walking to Starbucks one morning at 5 a.m. in the rain, and it was pouring down raining. And I was drenched, and I had one outfit. And it was like, I'm drenched. I can't go in there looking like this. And yet he said nothing. And I was like,
Mm.
plan, what is you doing? Why am I like this? Why is everybody else driving? Some car drives by, a truck drives by, and just like flashes all of the water and everything else. And I'm just, and I'm crying, and I'm praying, but I'm praying, complaining, and did not know that on the other side, his silence, he refused to say anything.
mm.
Mm.
His plan was to see if I would actually be faithful to what he had said for me.
Mm.
And then on the other side of it, it's easy now to see on the other side what he had in store for me. I didn't see it at the time.
But when you're going through,
Right.
when you're going through, you can't see it.
Yes.
And
No.
that's when your faith really has to kick in, is when you're going through it and you can't see the other side. You don't know the outcome.
Mhm.
And so often we want God to speak to us in an audible voice, like, Lord, send a message, send a sign, and he says,
Yep.
mm,
Nothing.
no.
It's like, don't you
Mhm.
see? You see what my circumstances are? How am I supposed to do this? What do you mean start a business? I don't have anything. I need a job. And you say start a business. And it just simply is the audacity to discard even your circumstances,
Mhm.
Right.
and to say to your circumstances, I choose to believe him and his plan over my circumstances.
That's good.
Right. That's
I keep wanting to say, lad, there's times when it sounded like being a barista was looking real good, right? So, and hats off to, I just want to say this though too. Hats off to the people who work in those
Yes,
services that we need, right?
Mhm.
yes,
And sometimes we don't think about how important it is. But if you kind of rushing in and you trying to go to Starbucks and get your little cup of cappuccino and what have you, and ain't nobody there service, you're gonna find it real important, right? At that moment
Right.
because of you. But it's so important, all the levels. And I think that's one of the things, for me, James, that I've noticed coming out of COVID is that, just people are really hurting for workers, people who want to work and do those type of things. And so we just want to say hats off to all the workers out there today that are baristas or that are serving at these places, but yet have a dream inside of them to do
Mhm.
something more. And so
Right.
I hope they are encouraged tonight by what they're hearing, from you. So inquiring minds want to know, right? Inquiring minds want to know, how can some of these celebrities that we watch on TV and we see them in series, we see athletes carrying the ball, throwing the ball, catching the ball up and down the field. We see our favorite artists on stage and can sing, can, well, not sing, but they can sing, right? We see our artists and our entertainers, and you would think that, what do they need with a credit repair guy?
Right.
What? Talk to us about that.
Well, the reality is that it does not really matter how much money you have if you're going to finance something. If for my celebrity clients, they're buying 20, 10, 5, 10, $20 million homes. And if you're not going to shell out all of the cash to get that house, then you're going to need to be able to finance it. And in financing it, you're going to have to abide by the same rules that everyone else has, and your credit score will determine whether you get it or not.
So you mean to tell me that the place don't have like, well, if you're famous, this is what your credit score needs to be, versus if you just an everyday person, they got to play by the same credit scale the rest of us.
By the exact same credit scales by everyone else, and all of the money in the world can't buy you a higher or better credit score. So you just simply have to build it. If you get a late payment in your credit report, it doesn't matter whether you are a multimillionaire or if you are the average Joe, it's going to have the exact same impact to your credit score. And so the only way to fix that or to change that is to have someone who knows what they're doing to actually get that late payment and make the argument to that creditor or to that credit reporting agency to get those late payments or that late payment out of the credit report.
So what you're saying is like the credit score system is a level playing field?
It is completely a level playing field. And it does not recognize, so your social security number is who you are. Mm-hmm. And it's not really your name that matters. It's your social security number that is who you are. And so whatever creditors are reporting against you, then you just simply have to fight it to get it off. I have a current professional boxer who is renting a mansion in Vegas for $45,000 a month to rent this mansion because he cannot afford to finance the house with his credit. That is a $20 million house that he's trying to buy. And until I finish addressing all of his issues in his credit report, he's going to have to continue to pay $45,000 a month to live this state home or this mansion that he's living at right now.
Wow,
that's pretty serious right there.
That is,
and I would think too, there's a lot of pressure on the celebrities and the athletes to maintain a certain status, right? They're trying to maintain a certain status quo because of their peers and those type of things. And when I think about just renting and versus buying, and I mean, you can spend a lot of resources renting, and you walk out of that place
with zero.
You get your deposit back in 30 days, right? I mean, if you ain't tore it up, right? So that's pretty deep to me.
Yeah. So Tank put up on his page, and it's also on mine, the video when he first got the house that I helped him to get, and he put up in the video that he had been renting other people's homes for over 14 years.
Ooh.
And never had his own, and said that he was making landlords rich and paying off their mortgages because his credit was horrible. And so my job was to get it done for him. He had just got married. And so my job was to clean up all of his issues and to help him get into a home. His new wife was driving him crazy about owning a home, and she wanted that house. And so on Christmas Day, 2 years ago, he put up that video, and he posted the video, and I didn't know he was going to post the video, and he put it on his page, and he has millions of followers. We got about 15,000 plus requests for credit repair services on Christmas Day.
Wow.
It took us about 9 months to get out from under that. And that meant that I had to hire everybody I ever fired back.
Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you. Right. That is awesome.
It was a major blessing. It was a really major blessing.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
let's talk a little bit about that too, because you mentioned it, and I know Saturday we were talking about the Black Enterprise article that they did on you, and how you talked about hiring people that and I'll let you say it, particularly young men that were in your situation. Tell us a little bit about why you're doing that, and what you're doing in terms of job creation for particularly Black male youth.
I think it goes back to what God allows you to go through.
Mhm.
And when God allows you to go through something, it is not necessarily just for you, but he's actually showing you and exposing you for something that on the other side of your blessing, he's going to actually use you to bless someone. And if you're not sensitive about it and haven't been through something yourself, you will overlook those kind of people. And so when God began to bless me and I had starting to get tons of employees and everything else, I started looking not in the universities and hiring college grads, but actually going. Now, I would definitely make it a point to not hire unemployed people. I took that from the Bible. Jesus hired people on their job.
They were fishermen, right?
Right.
Fishermen, they were on the job. Drop your nets and follow me. So
Right.
I made it a point to hire people who were working. And that meant that if I went in and I saw a waiter, and there was one particular case where I saw a young man who was a busboy at a really upscale restaurant and that I was dining at on a Sunday, and his white manager was yelling at him to get the tables busted faster and was using profanity in the way that he came at him. And he did it one time and we noticed it and we kind of like, he did it again. And then I ended up further would get tall. When he did the third time, I stepped up and I walked over to him and I told him, take your apron off. Tomorrow you start working for me. And I asked the manager who was standing right there, what is your salary? He said, I make $75,000. I said, yeah, that's what you're going to start with me. And I hired the bus boy who wasn't even making minimum wage. And I gave him the $75,000 a year salary at the manager was making. So I think that you go through bad situations so that it makes you sensitive and so that you actually reach out to other people. And my ministry is to reach out to certainly African-American at-risk young men. And I think that if you expose them and you put them in a situation and expose them to the right kind of people in the right kind of work environment, that all kinds of things that they didn't know was in them that will come out of them if you just simply expose them, make them dress a certain way. We're not sagging no pants, we're in dress shirts and we're in dress ties and everything else and suit jackets, and just watching the transformation of these young men and how their whole lives are changed, not just simply being an employee. So I make sure that their credit is done. I make sure that they buy. So I let them in the ghetto and stay in the ghetto. I bring them to Buckhead, where I am, in the most exclusive area, and I make sure that I pay them a kind of salary that they can afford to live in the environment that I live in. And so keep them closer to me and provide for them, make sure that they have nice cars. And I parent them in a sense that I'm making sure your car note is paid. I'm making sure your rent is not late. I'm making sure that you learn all of these responsibilities. I want to see your report this month. I want to give you any late payments. And so it's that kind of parenting that takes these young men who had never had anything, never had any bills. They stayed with their mamas or they lived with girlfriends and everything else, and watching them become responsible men.
That is awesome. It really is.
I don't even know that's like a drop the mic right there, right?
Right.
I think that's so important. And sometimes what we find is that the reason why some of our young men never get out of that is because they've never been exposed to anything other than that immediate environment.
Right.
And when we can start exposing them, I think travel is another one of those things that can expand someone's mindset. Right. We talked a lot about mindset before you came on. And that's a lot of what you're doing is you're working on the mindset, right? This is how we dress, this is what we wear, this is how we do some things. And I think it's so important what you just said is that you're in the credit repair business. I want to talk a little bit about more things that you do, but you got to make sure. I mean, it would kind of be a shame to be in the credit repair business and your employees ain't got good credit, right?
Right.
That wouldn't be a good look.
It's almost like, so you definitely want to make sure that they understand what we're talking about and that they live what we're talking about.
And experience.
So, it's making sure that everything, and they're proud of it, and to watch them get multiple credit cards and multiple things and still paying everything on time and responsible with it. Have it in your wallet that you have to go to call and spend it. Just watching them be responsible with it. Even I'll listen in on what they're saying I'll be sitting in another office and listening to them talk and how responsible they are with their monies and everything else. I'm just really like that. That's worth more than anything. It's worth more than the money because you're taking somebody and changing their life. And
that's good.
They'll live their best life. That is what success is for. What are you giving back and how are you helping people to live their best life?
Right.
You know, and to me, James, it's pretty amazing, sir, that you're talking about you've done this in 8 years.
Right.
That is a short
now, but it's still a short period of time.
That's a very short period of time.
A very short period of time, right? And so that's pretty amazing. Now, what I do realize is that there's always a preseason to our life, and we may be saying, okay, 8 years ago I was at this, but there were some things that were planted inside of you well before the 8 years that then really just started to manifest itself maybe 8 years ago when you were down and out. And sometimes we just don't know what kind of fight we got in us until we get in a fight, right?
Right.
We don't, you don't know what kind of, that dog may bark, but you don't know what his bite like until you get in a fight, right?
Right.
And so I love that. So James, I want to ask you this because I'm seeing a lot in the credit area, credit repair. It seems that there is a lot of transition happening. I'm seeing, the Federal Trade Commission come down on some organizations and different things. What's going on in that?
So different people do things. You can get caught up into doing things the wrong way. And because there is a tremendous amount of money that you can make in this industry, you can get caught up into doing things the wrong way. We had a young lady that was recently arrested, and she was falsifying police reports and using it as a means to expedite getting her clients' negative accounts off, and which is filing false reports. I mean, how did you think that was going to end? Fear of it. It's always someone in pursuit of trying to get something fast, as opposed to just simply working and doing the hard work every day that it takes to be successful, and letting God bless you, letting Him blow on what it is that you're doing. Until when He breathes on it, that's when it becomes life. That's when it comes into life. So one of my prayers when I walk in the office in the morning, every morning, is God blow, blow, blow. And sometimes I'll be blowing as I'm coming in, blowing on the computers and everything else. Breathe on this business. Bless this business. Bless bless not just me, but bless the people that you have put me in charge of. Bless the clients that are coming through this door today. So you know what their issues are. You know what they're trying to get. Make us a blessing to them. And so is that kind of perspective of keeping God first will prevent you from making the horrible mistakes of actually doing things the illegal way.
Yeah, taking shortcuts and all that.
Yeah.
I think that's really good, man. I appreciate that commitment to excellence and commitment to doing it God's way. And I always say that is like, you know, our thing is to do the very best we can for the clients that we work with, and then leave the results up to God. I mean, we measure them though, right? We measure results and we track things, but ultimately the results are up to God, you know, and if we service people the way they're supposed to be serviced, God will bless us. I mean, and so I do believe that as well. So man, I know, man, it's almost 9:00 already. Listen, boy,
this happens every week.
It happens every week, right? We can go to 9:30 every week. We might have some people drop off, but we can do it. So outside of the credit, I know you kind of even become like a concierge for some of your clients. Tell us a little bit. Is that another aspect of the business, or tell me how all that developed?
So I think it is absolutely important that you can't just simply provide a service of saying, I'm going to just clean up your issues, your credit issues, and then it basically leaves, okay, if you clean up the issues and then they're not educated on what do I do now? How do I get the house? I don't have bad credit anymore, but how do I get the house? I don't have bad credit anymore, but how do I get the car? And so I have a what I call my cabinet of professionals, and the cabinet of professionals are real estate agents and underwriters and the loan officers at all of the major banks. I know everybody at every bank, and they send me their clients too. So that's why it's important to know. It's important to know all of the finance managers at all of the major dealerships as well, because they send you clients, but also so that you can send your clients to them and make sure that they're taken care of and everything else without all of the red tape. So that I can make sure that I say, look, this is what he has. These are his issues. This is what his FICO credit score is today. I need you to make him happen. He needs to get into this. He wants this. He wants it in this color. Can you make it happen before I send him down to BMW? Before I send him to Mercedes, can you make that happen for him? And then it's being able to build those kind of relationships with the right people who can make the decisions. And that takes you much further than someone who is just simply cleaning it up. So with all of them, when you see Tank talking on about his video, he talks about all of the people that I put him with. He put me with Lisa Bennett, the real estate agent. He put me with Lily Rubin, the underwriter who got the house. All of those are my people, my cabinet of people that I rely on in order to make things happen for them. All the way, we did Kanye West's house. So it's everybody that they call on. They know that they can call me, and whether it's the Braxtons calling to say I need a Rolls Royce, and it's Sunday, but Monday is a holiday, and the Rolls Royce dealership is closed on Sunday. Do you have the relationship with the owner to get the Rolls Royce dealership open and get a car off the showroom floor? And they call me for those kind of issues. And if it can be done, I can make it happen.
Wow,
that's great, man. And
that's awesome.
and you know, I think too, what I'm hearing in this is trust, right? I think trust is a big part of it, because there has to be a lot of mutual trust. I mean, the finance manager, the dealership owner, the client,
underwriter,
the underwriter. There's a system, right? There's wisdom in a multitude of counselors, and we all have our lanes that we drive in, right? We all have our lanes, and when you can get people that are experts in their area and that you have this trusting relationship, And that's the other thing I see is relationships.
Mhm.
And you can pull that all together. It's amazing what people can do. I mean, I've heard, 12 dudes had this relationship with this carpenter from Galilee, and they changed the world, right? And so it's about a relationship. So
Mhm.
Absolutely. And that's what it's for. And those relationships are not built overnight. So
No.
relationships are tested. I will get new real estate agents and new finance managers and new underwriters, and they're leery of you at first until
Mhm.
you have proven yourself, and until they see that you are a man of character, and that what you say you will do, and that there's no shame. Most people have dealt with people who have done unethical business practices
yeah,
for years, and so they become suspicious of everybody until you show them that you are different. And showing them that you are different is not just you saying it, it's how you conduct business.
Yes.
absolutely. And and shout out to Deborah Blakeney. I don't know if you was on, Deborah, when I gave you a shout out of that sermon you gave on Sunday. It was awesome. Here's the thing. I was having a conversation with someone, and we were talking about, because even in my book, I cite some celebrities that kind of passed, didn't have wills, didn't have trust in place. They didn't have these basic estate planning documents, not alone a life insurance policy or anything like that to create generational wealth tax free. But the question was, how can these people be like that? And my response to it is I imagine that if you're the star, if you're the athlete, you got so many different people coming at you,
Mhm.
and you get burned, or you hear about other people that got burned. You don't know really who to trust.
Right.
And there could be a lot of people giving you good advice, and it could be good sound advice, but you don't know if you can trust it or not because of what you've been through.
Mhm.
And so I think that's so important to have those relationships and develop those trusts. And like you mentioned, and Deborah's put in the chat there, is that it doesn't happen overnight. There's time. And I know a good friend, Jimmy Davies, the head of Every Die Black. He has one of his signature talks is, I'm a 30-year overnight success.
Right.
You see the story. I mean, you see the glory, but you don't know the story. You don't know everything that I've been through. And so many of us don't look like what we've been through. I'm looking at you, James. You don't
Right.
look like what you've been through, bro.
Right.
So I think it's pretty amazing. So James, if someone wanted to get in contact with your organization or something like that, how would they do that?
So one of the phone numbers is 404-998-2516. On Instagram at Who Is James Hunt. On Facebook as James Hunt. On Instagram as James Hunt. So any number of ways to reach us, and literally you could just simply Google me.
I'm gonna start telling people that.
Use the Googler.
Just Google me. I mean, if you want to know how to get over me, just Google me. You'll find. Now, a lot of people are afraid of that though, because you're like, Google me, I don't know what you will find. But we want to say you can go ahead and Google me. You
will find more good than you will find bad. So if the good will certainly outweigh the bad, but so you can't stop.
Well, I mean, George Fraser said one time somebody was asking him, he said, well, if you Google Jesus, you're gonna find a whole lot bad, and we know that he was good, right? And so we can't always believe everything that's written about us. Again, that goes back to almost circle back to our initial conversation, knowing who you are in God, and not necessarily concerned about who people say you are, but who are you? Being confident in who you are, and that type of thing. And so, man, it's been an awesome conversation, man. I can't wait to you and I get a chance to meet in person one of these days, down there in Buckhead, Atlanta. A lot of great things going on.
Yes. And watch all the stuff I post tomorrow from with Jamie Foxx. So I'm really excited.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll get on there. We'll get we'll get on social media and see what you're doing with Mr. James.
Tony, use your Instagram and follow him.
Yes.
I did, but I found like I am James Hunt. But
No, who is James Hunt?
who is James
A
Hunt?
lot of people that will actually imitate me. So I got several people who have fake posts pretending to me, and they have like about 1,000 followers. But mine has just under 1 million followers. So that's when you know you got the right person.
Okay.
Right.
Who is James Hunt on Instagram? I'll be following you tonight. Everybody else follow your boy, right? Tony _TRMC. TRMC. Listen, James, last word, man. Any last parting words or advice you want to give our audience that's listening tonight?
I just want to tell somebody that literally whatever you believe that you can do, if you stick to it, literally whatever it is, it can happen for you. I am an example, and the reason why you're listening at me today is because God has strategically placed it in your life so that I can tell you that the best for you is yet to come.
Wow.
Love it. Hey, James, stay in the green room for us as we close out. Don't run away. We gotta give you a proper goodbye and all that kind of stuff. Michelle, any last words for our audience tonight?
This was amazing, James. You're amazing. You're just doing the work. And look how you've been blessed because you're blessing other people.
Yes.
You are. So
Well, it says that you shall be blessed and you shall be a
a
blessing.
blessing.
When Abraham left and he told him, Genesis 12, get out of thy country into a land I'll show you, and you shall be a blessing and you shall be blessed. And I believe that God does exactly that. So listen, everybody, you've been listening to the Real Money Coach Show. We've had church tonight. We've had some financial advice tonight. We've had some credit advice tonight. Listen, make sure you tune back in on Saturday morning at 7:30 a.m. on Praise 100.9, and back here, same spot on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're going to continue to bring you outstanding guests. None as awesome as Mr. James Hunt tonight, though. You have been great. We appreciate it. Everybody have a wonderful night, and we'll see you next week on the Real Money Coach Show, live here on Facebook, YouTube, and now LinkedIn. Good night, everybody.
Good night.